We are Raintree Farms. We are one of the largest moringa value-added processors in the country. We grow for both moringa leaf powder production, which is used in the nutrition industries, both here in Uganda as well as internationally where we export. We are the company behind the Kwezi Beauty brand of beauty products. You might have seen those being advertised. We also, we're a social enterprise, as it were, and we're very focused on making sure that development happens at the last mile through business. So we engage a lot of farmers in our supply chain, not only as the primary buyer, but also innovating around how they benefit from supplying us and engaging us as a network of outgrowers. As you said, I am also the co-founder of Hive Collab. We started that about 12 years ago in 2010. It's amazing how fast technology has evolved over that time. Back then, I think our gatherings, in technology were mostly around internet cafes. If anyone remembers those, or university cafes, where you would need physically go to actually access the internet. And now, technology has advanced so much that I'm able to connect with you guys without leaving the village. So that's how quickly that has happened. So I'm always very intrigued talking about this topic, because in 10 years we have advanced from simple phones to now smartphones with more power than the computers that took humans to the moon. So imagine all of that computing power, all of that possibility and connectivity, and what it can do for your business. And I hope we can dig in a little bit here. And yes, I am, or should I say, retired athlete. But once you're an athlete, and that's in your blood, you're always very, very active. I'm a mountaineer these days. I recently climbed Mount Rwenzori in January. I'm going again in June. It's true what they say: once you start mountain climbing, you just don't stop, because you've already bought the gear, so you might as well continue. So my claim to fame in athletics is that I am the record holder for Uganda for the decathlon. And many people here are going to say, what is the decathlon? Because when it comes to record holding, I think for most Ugandans in athletics, we only think about long distance running because of our pedigree. The decathlon is a 2-day event. Usually, in most of the time, we only see it at the Olympics. On my way to training to represent the country in the Olympics, I of course broke the national record, which had been standing for more than 30 years. And I'm embarrassed to say it's still standing, which means we're not really investing a lot in athletics. So I have three national records, actually. I have the decathlon, high jump, and pole vault, which is another thing Ugandans are like, well, what is that? So so that's a brief intro into who I am. So looking forward to having a very fruitful discussion with you guys.
Lovely. Thanks a lot, Ruge. I guess when you were mentioning those spots, I was trying to Google them to find exactly how they are executed. I imagine the people on the call are doing exactly the same to find out how. For high jump, for sure, I know how that goes down, but a couple of others, I wasn't very sure. Great. So today we are going to talk about really technology as a tool to enhance recovery. But really where I wanted to start is to kind of take you back to your first engagement. And I think you touched on it a bit in your introductory remarks, your first engagement with technology and how that has evolved. I just wanted you to take us through a story about where you started, where we are now, and what you see has changed, and how we should be thinking about it at this point?
Yeah, I think I've always had an interest in technology and what and its potential. I think my first connection to technology, if we can really think about it, I'm old enough to remember when typewriters were prevalent, right? And that was the thing that you had to learn. I think in school we even had typewriters to teach you how to type electronic letters. And those were still the days, where fax machines were, I was very young and fax machines were still a thing. That was the technology to communicate. That was the precursor to email. I got my first computer when I was at university, and I used it for my course. It was one of the first times where technology was a required. It wasn't a luxury. It was transitioning from luxury to a necessity if you're going to come out of university with usable skills for the emerging digital economy. At that point, we didn't really know how important computers would overtake just about every sector of our lives. But I thankfully got into it right when it was emerging, and you could actually have this technology in the classroom and to actually be able to teach students on how to use it and what was coming and how useful it would be. I remember one summer learning programming. I started with BASIC, and you could even see then, even with BASIC, as you were programming, it was little beeps and bops on the screen, but you could still see where technology was going to where we are now, where there's eventually had one hub in Uganda to over, I think we have over 10 hubs in the country. So that's how technology is quite important. So when it came to really thinking about how technology could impact the country, in my early career, I was a blogger and kind of commenting, on what I was observing in the ecosystem. One of my first interests was looking at how the undersea cables were connecting between 2010 and 2020. There was a massive increase in the number of undersea cables that were connecting the continent to the rest of the world when it came to connectivity, and that's begun the decrease in prices and access to internet, access to technology, etc. In moving forward. And Hive Collab came about really when we, out of those conversations about what does technology mean for, our emerging economy? What does that mean when you look at Uganda's demographic, where 50% of the country is under 15 and close to 80% of us are under 30, and technology is evolving very, very, very quickly. So it's going to be an indispensable tool, and I hope that we harness it properly, to help the country both recover but also to thrive.
All right, great. Thanks, Ruge. You talked about, and I wanted to just possibly for some of us, we know what a hub means, and you talked about Hive Collab as being the very first, but now we have 10 of them. But I just wanted you to point to how do these hubs help the average entrepreneur? How can they be helpful to my journey in business? Are they for just looking into the future, or are they kind of delivering solutions that an SME right now can be able to use? And if they do, how can an entrepreneur be able to access them?
Yeah, so when we actually first started, what we were looking to do was to really provide a space, a collaboration space where innovators who were, because at that point around 2009, 2010, we didn't have precedent for this new emerging technology. It's not as if we had 50-year-olds, 70-year-olds that were prevalent all over the country that could actually, that young entrepreneurs could actually look up to and say, hey, this is the technology, guru in the country, and this is what he's done. There wasn't a pathway. So whoever was engaging in technology at the time was, should I say digital technology, was essentially a pioneer. I mean, we think about people like Solomon King and what he's doing with Fundibots right now. He was one of those OGs that we were having conversations about the future of technology. So we needed a space where we could bring everybody in to actually say, hey, what happens when you bring all of these innovators and outside the box thinkers about the future of technology into one room? So Collab was born to kind of create that space. And that's where, programs like Mobile Monday would come in, where we talk about the future and current potential of mobile money, for example, and mobile communications technologies in terms of handsets. And that's where it was born. We had hacker spaces to build solutions to real life problems that were here locally. And, out of those hacking sessions were where interesting platforms that, were born. I think right now everybody knows about Rocket Health. But it's taken them 10 years of building to get to where they are right now, to where they're actually fundable and actually making a difference in the country when it comes to telemedicine. So that's where those kinds of spaces have actually come. Now we see over 10 hubs. I think you've heard of Innovation Village. There's a bunch of innovative companies working out of that and being incubated from those spaces and growing. So essentially, they are places where new platforms are going to be born from. So whenever you see about a hub, just know that somewhere in there are some Ugandans who are cooking up the future of the digital future for Uganda.
Super. So whenever we talk about technology, I think our minds go to digital innovation and how that can be able to transform. And I think it comes as a surprise that currently you're running Raintree Farms. So we just want to see, how does technology connect to moringa trees? How does it really play out in that space?
Yeah, so I think when I was sitting down to actually think about, okay, how do we have this discussion about technology? It's always for us to think, when we're thinking about technology, we think about digital. The first thing that comes to mind is digital connectivity, platforms. So we think about internet, right, as technology, but really technology is cross-cutting. Like, for example, solar technology, which is an innovation that allows us to really easily distribute access to energy to the last mile, because our farm right now has a 50 kilowatt solar installation since we're in a village. And when we started, we didn't have access to the national grid. So solar technology allowed us to start processing at the last mile and have a factory production facilities. Even though, traditional technology like electricity had not actually reached us. So that's one way to think about it. Oh, it's also even in your manufacturing, the processes that you actually use, that you innovate yourself to be able to produce high quality product. That is also technology that you should also think about. But for the general use, we think about, how technology connects us. And for us working at the farm, we are very, very dependent on technology to be able to connect our farmers. Like, for example, we use mobile money technology to pay all of our farmers and employees. So instead of them at the end of the month coming to the office and picking up envelopes full of cash, when the time comes, they just look on their phone and their salaries or payments for their raw materials has arrived. So that's the technology that makes it easier for us to engage with our ecosystem, and make it easier for our farming operations to actually work. We think about the internet in terms of like how it connects us here at the farm to international customers or customers in Kampala, etc. But we also look at social media platforms that allow us to market our products both abroad and domestically. During the lockdowns over the last 2 years, I think it's been technology that has allowed us to stay connected with our customers. Our brand, Kwezi Beauty, was launched in the middle of a pandemic, for example, and we relied heavily on social media platforms to connect with customers and be able to deliver. So even in the lockdown, we leveraged what was available to stay in business. COVID hit a lot of business very, very, very hard. And you had to think outside the box in terms of like, how do we stay open when the rest of the world is closed, and how do we continue to deliver impact at the last mile through business? How do you do that when, transportation is closed? Global markets are shut down for long periods of time. Even our suppliers in China shut down during COVID. So technology allowed us to stay connected to each one of those, where we could get on Alibaba.com and order supplies from China, or use Instagram DMs to connect to our customers, and use the advertising features to actually reach out to other customers and say, hey, we know you're at home, but we can also deliver something to you. So it's really helped us. And when people think about farming, they don't think about you don't think that is a technology heavy operation, but we heavily rely on technologies to keep us in business.
Wow, I guess farming would be the best choice of saying that's one of the business you think is farthest, at least for sure, the way farming is viewed generally within the nation. So I guess for me that's such a powerful. And you talk about connection and connecting with clients. So I just wanted you to possibly dig a bit deeper in there. I am currently running an agro processing mill. I possibly process maize. I'm running a school, and I have 300 parents, for example. I run 2 or 3 saloons. I'm running a supermarket. If I wanted to get into this space of technology, really, where would I start? What would be the low-hanging fruits that I should start with to be able to build that connectivity?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think in Uganda we're very heavily in the process of transitioning, or are struggling with the transition of paper-based, record keeping, and how we look at the growth of business. Very easy things can help you to really become more efficient in your business and in your operation, and all of these technologies are actually available. Like, for example, in the last few years, there was, Facebook launched WhatsApp Business, which is like a separate platform to WhatsApp, to the normal WhatsApp. And what a WhatsApp Business allows you to do is to be able to set up a product catalog on that platform, to be able to chat with customers, take orders, etc. Those kinds of things. And I'm surprised a lot of business don't know you can set up a WhatsApp Business profile to actually help you communicate with your customers. A social media profile, that's a very easy low-hanging fruit. What we found in launching of Kwezi Beauty was that in Uganda, at the very least, we still don't have all of the mechanisms for purchasing online in the traditional sense, like in the Web 2.0 ways, where you put up a website, you put up credit card processing, and customers can buy your products from your website. Yes, that works in first world economies, but it doesn't necessarily work here in Uganda. We still use technology as an extension of our traditional ways of doing business. So, for example, if I post my product on WhatsApp, Customers are not going to use if I post my products on my Instagram profile, customers don't use the link to go to the website to purchase. They come into our DMs and say, hey, I would like to purchase this product. Well, you can't deny them that purchase. You as a business have to meet your customers wherever they are. So that's the first low-hanging fruit in that technology. So just because you posted it, are you using technology to extend customer service to that customer? I have many businesses that I try to engage with on Instagram or the socials, but they take 2-3 weeks to actually respond to their DMs or their emails, etc. Just because you apply the technology, does that mean do you actually use it in a way that actually promotes your business? I think we have a failing scorecard here in Uganda when it comes to technology, especially with people that you wouldn't see. So technology allows you to actually be able to extend beyond your current customer base and be able to reach a lot more customers. But you have to extend the customer service that you provide in person to the digital space. So use the platforms to actually extend that, but also extend the customer service there. Be present, be responsive, and provide the proper information that customers need. The other thing that can actually make it very easy for young businesses is digitize your records. Honestly, just digitize your records. QuickBooks is very cheap and it's affordable, and you can use it to track your sales, you can use it to track your customers, etc. And it's very easy when it comes to you as a growing business to be able to have auditable records, financial records, because most of us think about our growing businesses. We reach a certain stage and then we begin struggling to grow, and then we need to go look for additional finance. It's nearly impossible to do that if you don't have, a good, audited financial records. That's a low-hanging fruit. Even if you sold 2 or 3 products, or your sales were under $1 million, do you have records to show where that money went? Do you have records to show which products were more profitable? Do you have records to show that, hey, you are actually growing as a business that you can actually present to someone? It's extremely important to start, as you're starting or as you're recovering, to put your books in order. And technology can help you do that. Whether you use a spreadsheet, we forget that, even Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet, is a technology you can actually use to organize your business. So even if you can't afford a QuickBooks subscription, you can use a spreadsheet to put your numbers together. If you are not a computer person, certainly. And that's the other aspect of technology, is that we often think that the use of technology, you as the owner of the business, that you have to actually be able to be conversant in that technology. If you don't know how to use, a spreadsheet or QuickBooks, etc., hire a consultant, as a hire a bookkeeper to for them, that's their expertise. They use technology to track numbers, etc. Hire them and put them in that role. You don't know how to use social media. Hire a social media consultant to represent your business and make sure your business is active on social media and in front of customers. You don't know how to build a website. Nobody expects you to know how to build a website. Hire a consultant to build your website, etc., and manage those things. So the long-hanging fruit is actually there, and there's ways to actually be able to digitize as well as use technology within your business. Just as a low-hanging fruit.
Thanks, Ruge. I think you kind of speak to a message which I think a couple of years ago there is an extensive study which was carried out called the Uganda Entrepreneur Ecosystem Initiative. We're part of it as Enterprise Uganda. And I think one of the messages which came out clearly is the question of record keeping, for example. It has been mentioned in a number of papers. But many times we have met entrepreneurs who are in a way afraid of the whole idea. And I mean, you make the point that even Excel is a technology in itself, and it's a good starting point. And I think that's a pretty powerful message that is coming out there. You talked about I want to take you a bit, and I think I wanted to bring the audience in here. When Ruge talked about something as simple as WhatsApp business, I wanted to carry out a quick poll. I just want you, if you are on WhatsApp business, you say yes in the chat box, and no if you are not on WhatsApp business and you are running a business. So please just carry out a quick poll to kind of give Ruge a picture of where we are at in what is. I see a no there. I see a yes coming through. Yes, yes. Great, yes. Not on WhatsApp, but on WhatsApp business, yeah? No, no. No, no. Let's keep going there, keep going there. Lovely, lovely. Keep going, keep going, keep going. We'll take a couple more. I wanted to just take the pulse here to get a feel. If you don't know what WhatsApp business is, then your response has to be no, because certainly you can't be on it when you are when you don't know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Robert says, so there is something called WhatsApp business. Robert, really? That is a no for sure. Great, great,
Yeah.
great. Jackie, you are also not on WhatsApp business. How these people I know. So I think, Ruge, you can see clearly from what is coming in the chat box that the point you are making is absolutely true, that there are some low-hanging fruits which are just not being taken. And I guess for me, the question which I want to pose to you there is, when you think about some of these technologies, how do you develop? Because it would appear that there is a mindset which we all walk around with about technology. And many times when you engage people, they will quickly say, you know, I'm not a technology person. It's for younger people. So if I'm an entrepreneur, I've done my business, I've been in it for the last 10 years, it's been flowing very well, I have my outlet. How do I have a switch in that mindset? I see Gonsha here. Dr. Gonsha was actually our panelist last week, who is also not on WhatsApp business. So, so how do I develop that mindset that I need to make this switch? What kind of steps do I need to take to do that?
Yeah, you're right, because I think in this country, we have what we call BDCs, born before computer, and those are the people that are always complaining, technology is not for me. If it's not for you, then it's definitely for your business. Remember, a business is an extension of you, not necessarily just you. So just as a child is growing, they need the milk, they need the nutrients, and many times those are things that you don't take yourself, but your child actually needs. So you have to be conversant in what the child needs. In the same way, you need to be conversant with what does your business need. Apart from financing, it's almost impossible to run a business in this modern age and going into the future without the application of technology. So whether it's your phone number, right? That is technology that you have to use. That's a low-hanging fruit. How do customers reach you? How do I call someone in downtown Kampala to actually send me supplies, right? I have to be able to be connected with them to, previously, the technology of the day was I would have to get on a bus and go to Kampala, and then pick up, the supplies that I need and come back. But now I can use, whether it's text messages or call directly to that supplier, and then they can put the product on the bus and send it to me. That's application of technology. So I think sometimes we think technology is overly complicated, but it's already invaded most of our lives in terms of that. And as I said before, if some technologies are too difficult for you, or you think, that it's not for me, that's fine. Hire somebody, hire out people that are specialists in those departments, because your business needs it, right? You may not need it personally, but in order for your business to grow, you need to be present. You need to be at the table where the conversation is happening, because if you think it's not for you, customers are also going to say, well, you're not for us, right? Because we're using WhatsApp to reach out to businesses to order things on the platform. We're using Instagram DMs to reach, because customers are using technologies to be to add more efficiency in their life, right? They're paying for things online and they're being delivered. Instead of going to a restaurant, you can use Jumia food to get a delivery. They use Jumia Market to get groceries delivered, etc. That's the use of technology. So imagine your customers wanting to access you without actually having to visit your physical location. Because just because you're based in Kampala doesn't mean that 100% of your customers have to be in Kampala and have to be the ones that drive by to actually look at you. Someone in Lira could actually say, hey, you have a thing that I want. How can I actually order it? How can I pay for it? We overlook mobile money as a technology that can, that can increase our sales. For example, I was talking about the use of QuickBooks earlier, etc. But you can also use mobile money as a digital bank for you. Customers can pay you with mobile money. You can pay suppliers with mobile money. That's a low-hanging technology you can actually deploy. So you as a business owner, ask yourself, have I made it easy for customers to actually pay me? Do I have a Momo account? Do I have a merchant account with either Airtel or MTN to actually make it easy for customers to actually send me mobile money payments? Someone earlier asked about WhatsApp Business. WhatsApp Business is actually a separate application to the normal WhatsApp. So if you want the business features of WhatsApp Business, you have to separate. You have to download a separate application called WhatsApp Business. There, you can actually set up your business profile. So essentially, so if you have a ton of products, you can take pictures of those products, and you can actually set up an entire catalog with the pricing, description, etc. And it doesn't have to just simply be products. It can actually also be, services. So anytime someone visits your WhatsApp profile, they see the business profile icon, and then they can actually go in there. Your contact information is there. Your business hours are in there. Your description of your business or service is in there, and they can actually chat. And it can also automate responses. For example, if it's after hours, like a customer, texts you like at 9 p.m., you can program it to actually be able to say, hey, thank you for contacting us. We're currently closed, but here's a link to our catalog for the products. Let us know, and then we will deliver them in the morning. So it's a very easy technology to use that you can actually apply to your business. So those of you that are in this forum that don't have WhatsApp Business, please make sure that you actually sign up for that. And social media accounts also. When you sign up your business for social media accounts, make sure they are manned, right? You may say, I don't need to be on social media, but your business does. Your survival depends on it. Find someone to manage your social media channels, and that can be very cheap, actually.
Yeah, I think to that point, many of us feel like Facebook is a place where people confront each other. We often don't look at it as a place where business is done. And I think Ruge makes a very good point there that your Twitter account, your Facebook account is for your business. It isn't necessarily for you. You may want to share a picture of where you are for the weekend, but you certainly want to share a picture of your latest product because that's going to bring business to you. I think that's such a fundamental message. And to that point, please follow Ruge on his Twitter account. He's on Twitter as TMS Ruge. I think that should be the Twitter account. Follow him, and he's one of the people who has used this very well. And if you follow him, you quickly notice that he has really used these platforms. I'm going to open up to us to ask a couple of questions. You can put them in the chat room or put up your hand. We'll give you an opportunity to engage with Ruge. But Ruge, before we bring in the audience, I wanted on this question of paying of consultants. One of the challenges which I see in this country is that whenever a professional gives you his bill, it feels like they are ripping you off. You feel like you are paying way too much. So how do we get the business community to appreciate the services of professionals? I mean, a young man comes to you and says, I'm a social media consultant, and all he has is his phone. And you're saying, but I think I can't pay you that much for that. So how do we get that mindset to make sure we are paying the amount? Because as you have rightly put it, sometimes you need help to be able to get that done.
It's true. And I think, well, here's the real truth in terms of finding consultants. As much as I say that that could actually help you, it is a process finding someone you can rely on, because I don't know what it is with us Ugandans and service delivery, etc. We fail a lot, and that's where this sentiment is like, it seems like I'm being overcharged for this particular service. Um, One thing that I would say in terms of finding a good resource for your business is talk to other business owners, because a business owner who has spent money on a particular person as a consultant is going to tell the truth. Did this person help me in this particular need to actually address an issue that I had with my business? And instead of just putting out an advert and then a bunch of people coming in, and then you don't know who is genuine and who is not, use your business community. Ask them, hey, I need someone to manage my Facebook and Instagram. Does anyone else out there have someone that they're using that they can engage with? And it's a lot easier process to get someone that way than to actually try to do it yourself. Don't look at it as a waste of money. Look at it as an investment in your business, right? And all of these processes and procedures, they're trial and error. There's nothing guaranteed in business. However, you do have to give it a try. You do have to actually put it out there. Organizing your books and getting your finances in order, that is an investment in a professional, because what you're paying that person, it may sound like it's expensive, or you're paying a professional to do a work which you don't have expertise in, right? Understand that. And whatever that person does for your business, it enhances your business. It professionalizes your business. So we need to stop cheating our own businesses and actually, think about the money that is being spent as an investment in your business. So that's the mindset that we actually need to change. So I will leave you with this. Hire through recommendations. If you're worried about paying someone who's not professional or is not as good as they say they are, ask for recommendations. Don't just take their word for it. Find out which businesses they've actually worked for and whether those businesses are happy with their services. That's one way to actually get it done. And two, really change your mindset to actually thinking, I'm not wasting money on these services. I am investing in the growth of my business. Over time, you will see the benefits.
Super. Hire through recommendations, and also value the service which is being given. At this point, if you want to ask Ruge a question, please do put up your hand. We'll give you an opportunity to do that. We have a couple of comments coming through in the chat box. We have Margaret, the recording will be shared for sure. That will be shared. Abdallah asks, what would you consider to be the most important ingredient in doing a business successful? I think this question, Ruge, to you is broadly, as you run Raintree Farms, what would you consider to be that most important ingredient? There's a question here from Fred. Do you know of any specific technologies to manage farm operations and activities and to monitor from a distance? I think Fred is asking, as the telephone farmer, you have your farm, it's a bit of a distance away. Can technology ease the pain of your cow has died and you that has died? How do we get that? So yeah, I think we could speak to a couple of those as I collect the rest, and then there's a hand from Dr. Abe. Dr. Abe, you can speak, and then Ruge will respond and take another round.
Thank you, Mr. Mukasa. And thanks, Rugi, for such an inspiring presentation. I'm seeing someone who is going to be a role model, a company that will be a role model to us. But in so doing, during the COVID-19, the tech-savvy brands like Amazon, here we have our Safe Border, and the rest made a kill. And they proved to us that doing online, doing your business the digital way, online using technology is excellent. However, I also learned something. These kind of brands or firms have a good connection to the logistical system. So my question is, how do you handle your logistics using technology? And two, even the distribution, because you need warehouses, because you're doing export, agribusiness export, and you're distributing, although you are in the village, you're distributing across the country. So how are you using the online distribution and logistics management? Which technologies are you using? Is it locally available to also my business? Because I do agro processing myself, and I use it. So please share with us some of your thoughts. The other question of mine is in the chat. You'll see it. Thank you so much, Mr. Mukasa and Enterprise Uganda, plus the participants present.
Thank you, Dr. Abe. Dr. Abe raises that important point about the question of logistics. I promised I'll deliver at 9 in the morning, and 9 has reached, and I think Ruge talked about the same, about trying to use online businesses, and people say they will deliver, and 2 weeks later, even the email hasn't been seen. So how do you handle that part? And then we'll take another round.
Before I start, can you clarify the first question for me, please?
Yeah, so the first question was, what are the key, let me just pick that again. Yeah, what are the most important ingredients in doing business successfully? And I think this is generally not just on technology, but I think since Abdallah has you here, he wants to hear your voice on that question.
Okay, so what are the most, the basics, guys, the basics in business, customer service, right? If you're delivering a particular product, start with that product. And the most basic thing you can do is to deliver a high quality product, right? Deliver a high quality product. Number two, your customer service, right? The biggest sellers of your brand or your business are going to be happy customers, but also your biggest enemies are going to be unhappy customers. So what you as a brand owner want to focus on is making sure that your customers are happy. And the best way to actually do that is to deliver amazing customer service, because businesses are extensions of our, of us as humans, and businesses don't run by themselves; they're run by humans. And as humans, we're prone to mistakes. But the most important thing is to actually be able to fess up and actually say, hey, we made a mistake. Let's make it up to you as a customer. I'll give you an example. Like 2 days ago, for whatever reason, maybe our social media marketing was really successful. It reached the right customers. But 2 days ago, we were extremely busy on WhatsApp business because customers were coming in, making an order, etc., those kinds of things. And since I was the one managing the WhatsApp business, I ended up mixing one of the orders, and it ended up not being delivered on time to the customer, because we tell most customers that, hey, if you make an order, we'll give you a 2-hour window to actually be able to make that delivery. And for whatever reason, when the order came in at 9 a.m. and the customer wanted it delivered while they were still at the office, I missed that order. So it came to 5 o'clock and the order hadn't been, delivered yet. So I asked my team what happened, why didn't we deliver this order? And it turns out I'm the one that made the mistake, because I didn't send them the order. So I called the customer, right? I used the technology, and I called the customer to actually, say, hey, I apologize, I missed your order. We didn't actually fulfill it on time. That is on us. Where can we deliver it tomorrow? And she let me know. I reviewed her order, And I upgraded the order. And you know what she said to me? You mean these things happen in Uganda? Like the owner of a business will call you and apologize and actually upgrade your order. These things happen in Uganda. So that lets me know there's something we're not doing correctly by our customers. If you treat your customers correctly, they will be brand ambassadors for your business. That is the lowest hanging fruit. The lowest hanging fruit. Deliver to your customers. Let them be your brand ambassador, right? That is very easy. That's the easiest technology you can actually deploy. And then Fred asked, in terms of farm operations remotely, number one, if you're serious about your business as a farm, you're not going to do it remotely. Either jump in with both legs, or you're going to lose a lot with your eyes not on the business. I understand there are careers and people want to do side hustles as farming, but if you're serious about it becoming a commercial farmer, you really need to be on location. I even, in fact, had to leave Kampala, during the pandemic, and I was like, I'm not going to languish in Kampala while my business is suffering. So I moved actually to the village to actually monitor my business, and I was okay with that because I know technology, the very same way it's connecting me and you, can still connect me to people in Kampala, or to, my customers don't care where I am as long as I'm responsive when I answer, right? If they need a video call, we're on the call. If they need, just an answer to a particular question about our product, I'm there to answer it. They don't need to come and visit me physically because they know I'll be responsive digitally. So, but in terms of farming operations, like, if there's no other way for you to actually do it except, remotely, I would definitely say video conferencing is important. Make sure your farm, has Wi-Fi. If an issue arises, make sure your farm manager has a smartphone and can actually take a picture of a situation or picture a video and actually send it to you in real time, so that you can address the problem, so that you don't have to get in a car, drive 3 hours to the farm to address a particular issue. You can do it remotely. It's also, if you have the finances to actually do this, install, webcams where you can, securely see what's actually happening. You don't have to rely on your farm manager. Install webcams that are web connected. As long as you have, an internet connection, those cameras, you can use your phone to actually be able to monitor what's going on in different locations on your farm. If that's one way to actually get that done. But the technology, but in order to actually have that, you need to make sure you have power, whether it's solar technology or using the grid. Make sure the farm is connected to power, because you're going to need that to power all of the technologies that you're going to have. If you need to monitor the finances, make sure that you're using a financial management app like QuickBooks online, which allows both you to log in and also for the manager at the farm to actually use it. So you actually financially are able to see how the money is moving on the farm and how expenses are being recorded and things like that. So you can monitor remotely to be able to get that. Use Google, Google Docs, for example. If you need a spreadsheet where both you and the farm manager can use to organize activities on the farm remotely, but both of you can actually see those documents. So deploying just easy, simple solutions like that can help you better manage the farm. Abby asked, which logistics tech are we using in distribution? My friend, this is Uganda. Distribution is a nightmare. In fact, just the last 6 weeks or so, we've been trying to get a shipment out to Mombasa and to our customer in Europe. It's challenging, but it is slowly moving in the right direction. Challenging because in order to export, you need to engage several government offices in order for your export to actually be able to be done. You need to get connected to URA to process things like phytosanitary certificate. You need a certificate of origin, which you get from Uganda Export Promotions Board, etc. Those processes currently are still physical. You need to travel to export promotions board to actually get, an export certificate. You need, you have to get a physical phytosanitary certificate, etc. So that's where, remotely when you're managing the, distribution and you have to do shipping, it helps to actually have communications technology and someone reliable in Kampala to be able to run to these offices. But I see small movements in the direction of, putting these documents online where we just apply from one office and we're able to actually print these out as opposed to actually physically traveling to Kampala. Used to be we had to travel to Entebbe to get a phytosanitary, but now you can do it in Kampala. So things are slowly moving in the right direction. And then also distribution to retail customers in Kampala. Don't be afraid to use Safe Border. This delivery. There's a Safe Border Commerce where you can actually use the app to actually call for a border to come and pick up your product to deliver to a customer. So that's a digitalization process. And as a business, you can actually sign up for a business account with Safe Border, and then they bill you on a monthly basis so that you don't have to deal with cash flow issues on a daily basis. So that's a really, really good way. So if you are a remotely based production company, but you distribute in Kampala, it's also probably good to have a warehouse or a storage space somewhere in Kampala. When an order comes in, someone managing the distribution warehouse can, easily call a Safe Border, hand it over, etc. Those kinds of things. That's the kind of model we use for Kwezi Beauty with our digital customers who order from anywhere from Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook, and even on our website. We are able to make that delivery within, process that order, package it, make sure it's delivered by our borders within a 2-hour window.
Super. I think as you started on the question of logistics, I think that is quite a broad question. It's quite a broad question. And you touched a bit on this process of exporting, which I thought is a process I wanted you to speak to just a bit more. You talked about the connectivity of the departments and the challenges which are in there. And I think still Abe talked about the building of the ecosystem, the entrepreneur ecosystem. But I wanted to just speak to what are the practical things you think we can do quickly to make this process much easier. I mean, I do know a couple of people who are on the call work with government and work with possibly local governments. But what do you think are the practical things that could happen to be able to ease the pain a bit? Because as you have rightly put it, a product like Kwezi Beauty is basically not just looking at the Ugandan market, but the international market. So what do you think can
I think you froze. Can anyone else hear him?
No, I think it dropped off. Oh no, it's muted.
Sorry, I had dropped off. I think, yeah, the miracles of technology. Yeah, but yeah, but I think I wanted you to touch on that aspect of how we can be able to build the ecosystem. I think the question which I've been asked in the chat room was, what role do you think as entrepreneurs we have to play in it? But I wanted to also speak on the bottlenecks you have found and what simple ways they can be solved.
Yeah. In as much as we have the technology to ease business, the business environment, whether from government or the private sector, there's this thing called humans. And this technology we have up here, however much that it's here and however much technology is available, if you don't use this to access the technology and to use the technology to make your business efficient, it's moot. All of the technology can be there, but if you don't change your mindset to actually be able to say, hey, how do I connect all of these pieces of technology to make my business better? Or as government, how can we better put together these pieces of technology to help our ecosystem do more business? That would be, it's not going to help whether or not the technology is there. From a government perspective, I think, to me, the way I think about it, government is that it's the entity that is made to organize the marketplace, to actually remove barriers. So when business people say, hey, why are we running to 7 different offices just to get one document? Oh, maybe let's use technology to build it in such a way that, hey, wherever you're seated, you can actually access all of this paperwork, so that you're able to actually now export your goods, because, more exports equals to more revenue for the country. That's good for us. But we find that the humans that are in between, right? The humans that are in between the offices we need to access and the goods that we need to export, etc., mess everything up. So the technology might be there. You go to some particular office with your documents, and then the person in front of there who doesn't understand that the technology has been used actually frustrates you in such a way that you fail to actually achieve your thing, even though the technology is there. So I think training is probably one of the most important things that we need to put forth, within these offices that we engage, so that the people who are running that technology understand the importance to the ecosystem, so that business is more efficient. The more efficient business is, the more revenue the government is able to make, the more profitable businesses are going to be. It's frustrating and time wasting and costly for us to be running from office to office and being bounced back and forth. The better government is organized in terms of like the requirements that it needs, the better efficient us as business people can actually do business. And the more efficient we are, the more revenue government gets. I've always failed to understand like how government doesn't understand that, or at least perceivably from the outside, you fail to figure out, okay, what is so complicated within government that they don't understand how private business needs efficiency in order for it to thrive. Instead, we run into complexity, and that can be very frustrating.
Super. I think the point you make is very fundamental, especially that organizing capacity that government has. But I think equally important is this question of mindset. I feel like, especially on the subject of technology, it is one of those things. I mean, the computer being there doesn't mean someone doesn't want 20 documents. And then you say, why am I handing in these documents? But there you are. Yeah. You say, but hand in the documents. Well, this is what we need to do. And I think some organizations have attempted to make a step in the right direction. I mean, URA would be an example, but I guess there's still a lot of work which needs to be done. If you book an appointment at the immigration office, you hope the appointment is taken seriously, but you could book it. That's what the technology says, but then they say, but now still make the big line. Then you would ask yourself, why did I book the appointment in the first place? So I guess that's
actually, you raise an important, example there, because just of yesterday, I was seeing someone who was actually both praising the online booking system for for the passport office, but also frustrated in reality.
Yes.
Because the people in the office are not actually implementing the technology that has been put in place to make things more efficient. So you find lines, even when you pay for Express online and book your appointment, you're still having to wait for 4 or 5 hours for somebody to actually see you. Well, then what was the point of the technology in the first place? So that is an example of an implementation of technology without the necessary training for the staff to understand why the technology was important, because to deliver better service. They're still running the office as if that technology didn't exist. So there is a clash there, but I think it will improve over time. I think it will go. I mean, if you just look at the NERA office, it used to be a disaster in terms of like, how do we get our national ID? How do we get, et cetera. But now, a couple of years down the road, it has improved in terms of access and being able to put in your information, go there. I'm not saying it's perfect, but you can definitely see it heading in the right direction. I think we just need to be a lot more intentional in terms of training and changing of mindsets for people who are ready to use technology to deliver better services from a government perspective.
No, I totally agree. Kizito, you had a question. Are you there? I think Kizito has dropped. I'm not very sure whether you're. Let's try to find him. We have just a few minutes left. There are a couple of questions which we are getting. Margaret asks, any funding subsidies out there to support us on web development, backup, and the letters I don't know. I hope, Ruge, you know, BCP, DRP, and definitely how can you be able to support on that? That was from Margaret. Collins is asking, how do you handle the current internet network issues in the country? And I think actually being up country, Ruge, that could be helpful. Is how do you handle them? Are they as bad as we think they are? Is there an improvement? That would be a good place to look. Yes, I think Margaret is asking whether you support individual companies. One of the things which I'll ask you is to follow Ruge so that if you want a bit of his time, you can reach out to him. He's quite active on the social media platforms. So you can be able to reach out to him on those platforms. We have shared his Twitter link in the chat box. You'll find it as one of the chats. Lillian is asking, Google My Business is also a low-hanging fruit. Lillian may tell us a bit more about Google My Business. Possibly we could start, and Lillian, clearly people are hearing many new things today. We thought Google, yes, is Google, but
Ronald, it's not a question. Just saying.
Yes, it was.
If Ruge can also talk about it, because I think it's also one of the good low-hanging fruits, and also it makes good visibility. Like if you're selling, for me who sells plants more and more. So if you Google up shop in Uganda, you see one of the ones that come up without you having to optimize your search and all that stuff. So I thought you can talk about that for other people to look at it. And also something nice about it, it can show you how busy the outlet or the place is at a particular time. So you can plan your visit to the place. And it also has a store as well. You can put your products and post them as well. Maybe you can mention more about that.
We are certainly going to look at our computers in a brand new way. The number of things we're missing as we looked at them. Great, Ruge, over to you.
Yeah, so in terms of funding support, I definitely would not be the person to know, but I'm pretty sure there's small business support through, I think, places like Private Sector Foundation. There's grants that are being offered in the Uganda Business Recovery programs through Bank of Uganda. Those are there. You can actually look into some of those. But there's also business, doing digital business trainings at these various hubs. So please follow them, because they have various programs, like Women in Technology training, small business growth hub, funding and trainings if you want more access to digitalization of your business. That's one easy way to actually help yourself in picking up the tools that could help you in your business. Network connectivity is a perennial, complaint. I think we're seeing it here with the network dropping here and there. In terms of connectivity, you just have to roll with it as an individual. I think when we lost AfriCell, there was a lot of disruption to business. I liked the way that they were able to provide, reliable service, but also at an affordable price. But then when they went away, there was the shock of moving either to MTN or to Airtel to provide network connectivity here in the village. And as much as you want to complain, unfortunately, it is almost like breathing air for business right now, and you just have to swallow that expense in terms of connectivity. I think the best option to actually be able to say, and unfortunately we have to deal with this, is like you have to sign up for multiple services to make sure that you're always connected. So if the MTN drops in your area, you just don't sit on your hands and say, well, network dropped. You have to make sure you can quickly switch to Airtel, or if you're in a location where there's fiber connectivity that you can tap into, or Wi-Fi at a nearest cafe or restaurant, etc. Make sure you're always connected. There are options depending on where you are, but in some places you don't have options and you just have to ride it out. Just make sure that there's somewhere nearby where you can actually go and get connected. We're not yet there where the internet is cheap and is ubiquitously available, but it's not so far away that we can't get access to it. Like right now, I'm 20 minutes from Masindi. All network connectivity drops here. I can always drive to Masindi town, find a restaurant with Wi-Fi, and actually continue on with my business. We're still in that stage where digitalization still has some complexities. You just have to, kind of roll with it. You just have to be creative in how you solve that problem for your business. Google Business Profile, I don't know how I missed this, but yes, it is a free service. Makes the searching for your products and actually discovery very, very easy. Just go to Google, set up an account, enter all of your information, including your contact information, your location, the products, pictures of your business, etc. And those will help in terms of discoverability and being able to call. But again, because that information is out there, be responsive, right? Customers are going to use it to get in touch with you. They call, answer, deliver on what you have said. It's not just the technology alone. The human side has to connect to that technology. And that's where actually the magic happens. If you use the technology to actually deliver satisfactory service or product to your customers.
Super. Thanks a lot, Ruge. We are left with just a couple of minutes. I wanted you to just spend the last minutes telling us a bit more about Kwezi Beauty brands and what is out there. Where do we find them if we want to buy them? And are they for only women, so that we know there are a couple of products for men or women, or the men are going to buy them, whichever it is. So just tell us a bit more about that, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, so Kwezi Beauty was developed to answer a number of questions, actually. Number one, and overall, and this was extremely important, was to be able to balance our business in such a way that we were not commodity heavy. Moringa is one of those amazing superfoods where it has a massive usability in terms of flexibility, the number of products you can actually create with it. So you can either build your business as your export business as exporting commodities with a very low-hanging fruit of simple value addition, or you can say we're going to take the supply chain to actually create end consumer products, meaning you own the value chain directly from garden to customer shelf, and that provides you much more value. It is a lot more difficult, obviously, to build from the ground up, especially when you're launching a new brand. But we launched Kwezi Beauty because Moringa oil is one of those super ingredients when it comes to its benefits for the skin and hair when you're using it. So we have a number of products that we are developing and launching, along the way. But it also answers the question of, like, are we creating high quality, products here in the country, or do we only import those? Do we have value as a producer country to produce, end products that our customers can use both locally, and then also we can export internationally? I was talking about commodity exports before. Most of the time we export commodities and import finished goods. But it's powerful to realize we can actually do both here. We can create the end user products. So what we're looking to do is, is to replace those imported products with our high quality products on the shelves. So in terms of like where can you find our products? You can find us online, at any of the platforms at Kwezi Beauty. Use the DMs or message us if you want to order. We're also on WhatsApp. If anyone wants to write down the number, our WhatsApp business. Actually, for anyone who wants to interact with WhatsApp business, write down this number: +256 775 464 461. If you put that number in your phone, in your WhatsApp, and you can navigate to our WhatsApp business profile, you can see how we've set up, and you can also use that WhatsApp. The number again is +256 775 464 461. You can check out our WhatsApp there. Those of you who are inclined to use websites to order, you can order at kwezibeauty.com as well.
Lovely. I think that would be our last practical exercise. Go to that number, make an order, and then we see whether it takes 2 hours to come. And when it does, we will know that Mr. Ruge was true to his word, that you'll have a couple of hours before when the product arrives. Ruge, thanks a lot for the opportunity you've given us. It's been such an honor having you here. We have totally enjoyed the conversation. I want you to just share your final remarks to the team which is listening. I think just before I invite Ruge back to close, one of the things which has come out clearly is there are low-hanging fruits that we need to participate in. The things like Twitter, some people have been running away from it, saying, I'm not joining Twitter. I hear how explosive it can be. But the truth is that there are people who are selling. And if you are not joining for yourself, at least join for your business. And that's the reason why you need to be there. The same is true on Facebook. The same is true on Instagram and all the other platforms which are out there. And then don't be shy to ask for help. There are people out there who can be able to help you. Some of them are your sons and daughters, and you're wondering what they're looking at in their rooms and their phones. That can be harnessed to be able to do business. And then finally, we need to make sure that we jump onto these platforms so that we can not only protect, but expand the markets we have. The fact that an online shop is as real as a physical shop. Yes, you're not paying rent of 3 million shillings per month. That's a big statement in itself. And it's important to say, how do we harness these platforms to be able to do just that? Ruge, I will give you an opportunity to just give us your final remarks and a final word to the team, and then we will wrap up today.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ronald, for the invitation to speak. I'm always open to have these conversations in terms of where the opportunities are and how we can use available technologies to expand our businesses and to grow. Uganda is known for being the most open entrepreneurial country in the world, but unfortunately, 90% of those entrepreneurship endeavors fail within 2 to 3 years, and most of that is because we don't do the right things in terms of actually making sure that our businesses survive. These low-hanging fruits that we are actually talking about really help your business in terms of visibility. There's no business that survives when it doesn't have visibility. You are the #1 ambassador for your business. So make sure you are where the customers are. COVID taught us that we can actually access customers even when we're not there physically. So leverage the technology to go to the water cooler where people are. People are on Facebook groups and they're in those conversations. People are in WhatsApp groups. People are on Twitter, especially. And I'm seeing more and more Ugandans who are using Twitter to discover both conversations, post their services, and do business there. Instagram is there for you to use, post your pictures. I mean, if you're already there, why are the Slay Queen pictures just of you? And yet, you have a business, right? You have a business that you need to promote. Why are your products not there? People who are sliding into your DMs for your products, are you being responsive immediately, or are you waiting days and days to actually deliver this service to this business because something else is more important? Customers will grow your business. There's no business that exists where you not responding to them helps your business to grow. People get frustrated that, oh, there's no business. Or ask yourself, am I doing everything that I can to grow my business? Am I leveraging all of this technology that is available to grow my business? And the last thing that I will actually say, in order for your businesses to survive, make sure you hustle and make sure that on a daily basis you sell something, whether it's 1K, 2K, 100K, it doesn't matter. Make sure you train your mind to say, every day I'm going to sell something, whether it's one product or 10, right? At a minimum, that gets you into the mindset of like, you know what? You have to hustle to make sure that bank account there's always that, text message from the bank that, hey, a deposit has been made, a deposit has been made, a deposit. You get used to that. Your mind trains you for that, and actually being able to say, I want to see that thing go ting, 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 ting as many times during the day as possible. And when you see that, when you put yourself in that mindset, you get addicted to those processes and procedures that are making your business grow. So please don't give up on those. Embrace technology, because guess what? It's not going away. It's not going away. So either jump in or you get left behind.
Lovely. We wouldn't close with any better words than those. The hustle continues. I think the platforms give you a playing field where to hustle, and Ruge has made the case that the hustle is there, but make sure that you use them. And the technology is not going anywhere. It is staying with us. And if we don't take our space, someone else will come and take that space on our behalf. I want to say a big thank you to all of you who have joined us. I want to thank Abid, who put us in touch. Ruge, thank you, Abid. I think I've seen Abid on the call. Thanks for putting us in touch. Ruge, we have had a lovely time. We have listened, we have learned. I personally have worked, or even as an institution, we are really on this journey of taking more space in the digital world. And I think one of my colleagues has shared our platform, our handles. Please do follow those pages. We put a lot of this information. We'll share a recording of this session with you in a couple about 6 hours from now. We'll be able to share we'll send an email through, so that if there's a friend who hasn't participated, you can be able to share that with him. Ruge, Dr. Isingoma fully agreed with those final statements you made. I think I saw him make a couple of messages. I just want you to send out a thank you to Ruge for being with us in the chat box. Say thank you. Say a bit about what you have learned, to appreciate the time he has spent with us. We are most honored that you shared with us. We have an opportunity for complimentary business health checks. If you would want to have just someone visit your business and ask you these questions, like the questions on technology that we have had, we have an opportunity to send you someone as Enterprise Uganda. Please just put in the chat box and say that I'm interested in the business health check, and we'll have someone come to your business to ask you the difficult questions. The purpose of the recovery series is largely for us to engage, to ask ourselves difficult questions. Ruge today has asked us difficult questions. If I ask the poll again, I think most people answered yes, because they're on WhatsApp, not WhatsApp business. But you may not even know that WhatsApp business exists, and there it is. And people are moving in that space. Google My Business for me is my big one. Thank you, Lillian and Ruge, for. I'm going to go right there immediately after. Margaret, I've seen your. If you're interested in the business health check, please do inform. Just put in the chat box and someone will pick that up. Thanks a lot for being here. Let's go out and make businesses work. Let's go out and keep pushing. We'll keep the meeting open for about 5 minutes in case you want to contact someone, say hi to someone in case you have a service which you offer. Some of the people who Ruge talked about, who are consultants in this, who support people in this, are on the call. Please just go out there and say, you know what, I am willing to be able to support you in this, and we can be able to talk and share your contact. Thanks a lot once again, and have a lovely time. Have a lovely rest of the week. We usually end at 10:30. We have overrun by about a minute, but thanks a lot for being here, and all the best during the week. A lovely time.